Welcome, everyone. I am A.D. Slayton. Thank you for joining us this week. There's been some major news, even in this holiday season, but today I'm going to talk to you about some of the news, specifically around like what's going on in the world of AI. Also, I'm going to do a little demonstration. I'm going to take a repository that I haven't touched in over a decade, and we will get a coding agent to understand what it is and see how it performs live on this week's episode of. I still don't have a podcast title, so maybe you all can help me define a title. I don't know. It's still nothing much to me. Like I'm doing nothing much, but on this week episode of Nothing Much, let's see how much of nothing I will do. So first, it's been a pretty massive week in regards to AI tooling. Um, like if you blinked, you missed some major announcements. For instance, Anthropic made their first acquisition in well, I don't know if it's first acquisition, but they did make an acquisition in December where they bought Bun or acquired Bun. It's a JavaScript runtime. That's from some benchmarks is faster than Node.js. Um, and why does this matter? It matters because Claude hit 1 billion in annual revenue in just about 6 months. So that's pretty significant. In other news, Cursor just acquired Graphite. Um, you know, it is a code editor. Cursor's a code editor, and they're making a big push for enterprise. And in my honest opinion, Cursor is leading the charge in regards to how to bring teams together in the enterprise using agentic workflows. Um, from a coding agent perspective, in this next subject, the performance is mind-boggling. Like in late 2024, the performance metrics around coding agents was about effectiveness. It was about 14%, and over 2025, that number has wildly increased to about 80% or more effectiveness with these coding agents. So if anyone's a skeptic, these tools are here to stay, and I am of the opinion that these are tools. These are not magic boxes that can just do any and everything. You have to guide it and coach it, all right, and prepare it. So that is pretty astounding, like the effectiveness of these coding agents. And then Google has entered the chat. Um, and what I mean by that, they have an IDE called Antigravity, right? And it's a developer tool. Um, and with the acquisition of Windsurf, this could be very compelling for Google. And in my opinion, the big or the top three coding agents are Claude Code, um, Codex, and Gemini CLI. Now, there's a fourth, and I kind of hesitantly call the fourth, but I still think it's like relevant for the open source community, which is open code. For those who like to use the CLI, the open code gives you that look and feel like you're in Claude Code or Gemini CLI. So it's three and a possible for those who like to play spades, in my opinion, of coding agents out there. So with that being said, I see a general theme that's taking shape where the industry is really moving away from model as the oracle, meaning the model is all end all be all, to like the model as the operator, and hence model as an operator, meaning that the agents are beginning to be to have a little bit more control versus just prompting. Right, we're getting into more of these agentic workflows, right? And the model as an oracle is more of like, hey, the tool is suggesting code, right? I think autocomplete, and they're actually executing That's what I'm saying. It's going from like an oracle to like an operator. It's actually doing things. But those are the hot topics at the end of 2026 around agentic AI, or just AI in general. But more to come. So next up, I'll actually demonstrate some live code for those that are interested to see AD use his engineering skill. And now let's start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a fresh terminal. And in that fresh terminal, I am going to pull down a repository. Actually, before that, I'm going to show you, go look at some old repositories that I have, just sitting out there. That's one in particular that I have in mind that I haven't touched in years. And this particular module, I wrote this about 14 years ago. This was during a time when Node.js was like super new, right? It was like no version O dot. It wasn't even no version 1 yet. Just put it that way. And there was a battle, or it wasn't a battle, but you had to actually handle your own HTTP request. So I just wrote this module to do that. So I'm going to use this. As you can see here, there's nothing AI related. This thing has been updated in 11 years. All right, so I'm just going to take this and I'm going to use this as the to see if I can get Claude, which is my tool of choice, to understand like, what is this thing? All right, what can I do with these tools, right? And I like to use the terminal. So I'm going to start in the terminal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in a fresh screen. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in here, but I'm going to go into, I'm just creating a temporary directory. Oh, it's already a temp there. So I'm gonna go in there and I'm going to clone. Actually, let me just remove all this stuff. I told you I'm doing this live. Ooh, I just removed my templates. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I don't need it. It's a temp directory. So I'm gonna remove force temp and I'm gonna just create temp. All right. And inside of temp, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna clone the repository. So now, as you can see, that's the only thing in there. All right, I'm gonna go into there. All right, and as you can see, that's the repository there. But what I like to do with any repository in the age of AI is I like to explore. In the olden days, engineer would have to on board and get an understanding of what the module is. They would have to read the documents, go look at diagrams, get tribal knowledge from whoever wrote it or who did not write it, but still use it. So I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So what I'm going to do, because I use Claude as my coding agent of choice, I'm just gonna instantiate it. And what it's going to do, it knows nothing. And actually, I'll ask it, what do you know about this, right? What do you know about this repo? It's probably going to go traverse the repo, but I'm just going to show you, it may or may not know anything, but there's a way to get these coding agents, for instance, to understand what the repository is about. So what it's doing now, it's trying to figure it out. All right. It's actually reading all of the files. It's building a map, right? It's building an index. It's creating context of like what it is. And this is what I advise like any engineer who's going into a new repo. Just get it to understand what it is. Like you don't actually have to do anything. You don't actually have to have it write code. Just get it to understand. And the way you test that, like for anyone who's been operating in these repos for quite some time, and doing these simple steps, you can begin to gain confidence or begin to see if these tools match your expectations right? So what it did, it went, it read it, right? That's good. But how do you get it to consistently remember this, right? So these code agents have these thing called slash commands. And in particular, Claude has this slash init command. And what it will do that same traversal, but it will create a document, what's called a Claude MD file, and that could be stored in a repository. And the benefit of that is any other engineer that comes on board will now have the context, or their agent will have the context without retraversing the repository every single time. So this opens up the gateway to begin to be more creative as a team. One, because you're not restating the context every time you do an operation within the repo, and it's shared. As you can see here, it's traversed this entire repo, and as you can see, it's a little bit more thorough in regards to what it's doing and what it found. So it found all these things. Here's the HTTP utility. We know that. So I'm going to give it the permission to create that file, that Claude MD file. And once that's created, I can check it in. And here you're actually beginning to build some sort of localized or repository aware memory. And then I can begin to ask questions like, how old is this? Actually, this is probably a more basic question. Like, when was the last commit? Right. You can begin to use natural language to have a conversation with your code. In the past, engineers, we had the ability to have a conversation with our code, but our code wouldn't talk back. But I would say that to some degree it would talk back in regards to bugs, log statements. Right. That was the way we got insight into the code and documentation. Right. It's very manual, but now we're in the age where we can begin to document pretty easily and begin to get an understanding, right, of what we have. So the last commit was 12 years ago by me. And I'm leaving. The reason I wanted to show you this is because coding agents are here to stay. And now let's begin to think about how to practically use them and apply them. All right, there's hesitation, rightly so. It's something new. But what I help with is understanding, unpeeling the myth and focus on the practicality of the tools. Now, I do offer workshops in regards to, teaching this in more depth. I teach the core four, what I call the core four, and I actually got this from Indie Dev Dan. The core four, which is the model, right? The model you choose matters. The context you provide matters. The prompt that you give matters. And the tools matter. Regardless of how things are changing, if you focus on the model, whether that be Opus or Gemini CLI or Gemini, or if that's GPT, the model matters. The model, the context, what does it have access to? What documents? The prompt, what are you asking for? What are you looking for? Matters. And this is where MCP, in my opinion, come into play. Tools. What tools do you have access to, or does your agent or your models have access to begin to operate? So I dive deeper into those key facets. With that being said, I would love to have feedback, and please follow us. Please like and subscribe. Visit us on stillriver.info, stillriver.info, to connect with us. We do a free assessment. Just have a conversation. just to see where you're at. Right? We help small business owners, enterprises. Like it's all about what you're trying to accomplish. Right? It's less about AD, for instance, or Still River. It's more about, all right, what are you looking to do? And let's help you get there. With that being said, I am AD Slayton. Please continue to like and subscribe and follow and spread the word. All right, share this video. And in the meantime, in between time, I will see you in the next coming year. And I look forward to seeing you at the next update.